EUCF 2024, we're into the quarterfinals. Single gender divisions, these are the women. And this is Iceni starting with the disc, taking on Mooncup from Brussels. I'm Stefan Rapazzo alongside Hannah Pendlebury. This one's straight into it. Hannah, are we excited about this one or what?
Oh, absolutely, Steph. Mooncup rising to the top of their pool. They had a lay-in this morning, and it is all about trying to ride the breeze for them, shooting immediately upwind for a potential defensive break to get this one going.
Shot in for goal and collected. Great way to get things going if you're Mooncup, breaking to Colleen Chartrand. The Pornichet Nantes pickup. Brussels have bolstered their lineup a little bit over the course of the season, obviously all within the rules of the transfer portal. But they've got a few externals, Chartrand one of them, and they break onto the board first. Not a bad way to kick things off.
Indeed not, Steph. And certainly in terms of this Mooncup, so they have struggled a little bit with their flow across the course of the tournament, because even though more or less the roster has remained consistent, it's been different iterations that have been representing Mooncup over the course of their qualification set. So this is the first time we're actually seeing the fully fleshed out, flushed squad, and of course under the leadership of Ine Lancrit, who it turns out, how do you get an elite coach? Well, you just fastest finger first, ask them to help you out. Although there are a couple of folks that have some personal connections, of course, to the Belgian mastermind. We'll talk a little bit about those over the course of this game, Steph.
I'd never heard of her.
She's fantastic.
Yeah, yes, and I've obviously heard every little bit about her and was so happy to have appointed her to a team that I've worked with. She is, as you say, a mastermind, a great ultimate mind of in every sense, deployment of strategy and tactic. But what I love most about what she does is the way she runs her lines. She is very multifaceted deployment, and we'll be keeping a keen eye on that. But second effort, Kat Pope and Iceni trying to get things going. Playing upfield. That big one connects, toe, and sent deep. That one hits, not quite in long. Throws again, still not in. Then the pop pass does connect, and Iceni are on the board to tie things up one apiece.
Well, Christito keeping things fresh there. The former Spice athlete going to work for Iceni. So one of the things we should point out about she gives us the little number. One of the things we should point out about this Iceni O-line, Steph, is the fact that actually they are missing one of their other Leongs, Maddie Leong, one of their key O-line handlers for this side. So we're going to see a little bit of flexing and changing. Iceni moving out of their traditional horizontal set into the occasional vert is the game plan across the course of this one. But nice to see them connecting for the second point of the game, even though they got interrupted and quickly taken down in the first. So no buy one, get one free upwind to immediate downwind break. Although, of course, Mooncup now will show us their offensive line for the first time. Coach Jamie Rabbits, of course, for Iceni this season. As you see in the
TV zone.
Indeed. I think he's a little bit jealous of us yesterday getting to be under the tents, but it's nice to see slightly more favorable conditions for high-level Ultimate today.
Mooncup pick up and get things going. Maxon gives and gets again. Now into the hands of Schluter, and Carmen Lagala gets it just before losing her balance. Falling over the defender that bid in front. Now Lison Bourneau, one of the superstars of this team, up to Julia Harris. Harris back into the dump space, Maxon, and comes all the way across. That's Crowley, and leads a bit too far, and now a break chance for Iceni.
Well, full field stretch required to go. Harris is not an easy athletes to overshoot, but some of these shots against the breeze for the break are very challenging.
Cinnamon. Ooh, and throws into a poach. Lison Bourneau had that one sniffed out. And Raulet churns things around. Belpère. Ooh, and the throw under. And Maxon can't handle it. Second chance to break for Iceni. And second chance for Lison Bourneau to be thrown into. She is all alone still, and there it is. It's that throw had to go. Lison Bourneau was unattended to. That cannot happen again. 2-1, Mooncup in a nice lead.
I mean, say yes to throwing that to Lison Bourneau every day of the week and then some. Took a little while for them to ignite Lison, who was without a matchup for quite some time in that final possession. Smith with the unfortunate just miss there. Didn't see Bourneau streaking into that middle channel. But this has been the real thing for this Mooncup side, is their ability to play defense with every single athlete they've brought to the field. To say sometimes their connections maybe not quite so smooth as they'll need to be later on in the championship bracket, but an ideal start for Mooncup, 2-1 up, and a timeout being taken surely by Iceni.
Yeah, Iceni have seen enough of not having their offense tick on the first point and seeing Mooncup able to hold that time with a bit of ease after the second effort. As we see, Hannah, this stage getting set, something exciting must be coming up.
Do we have any intel of what's happening on the stage yet? Because it's been up there since yesterday. I mean, maybe where the medal ceremonies will be presented later on tomorrow?
I hear they're flying in some huge bands.
Interesting. All right. Well, I mean, there's certainly going to be a lot of action at a party in a certain part of Brussels, which Mooncup and Mooncatchers are hosting after Sunday. How many of the athletes will make it the sort of 60-some miles down to Brussels is anyone's guess, because Sunday night many will be thinking about the dreaded Monday morning feeling. But right now, in the middle of Saturday, that's a distant faint threat waiting.
It makes it all that much easier to commit to that party when you've got something to celebrate. Both for the hosts, Mooncup and Catchers, if they're able to bring home some silverware.
Well, they've got to get through the Londoners first.
I know one team that's definitely going to get through the finals. That's the Alti TV team. We're ready to go to these events. We're ready to see what's on stage, and we're ready to bring you the action from the showcase field here.
Not just the preferred production partner, but preferred party partners for all of your raves.
Whatever it is, we're preferred.
Your status is preferred.
And that one, well collected. I love that caught pull right on the sideline. Cat Pope looks Fiquan. Maïwen Leduc was dangerously about to jump in the lane there. Cat Pope motions with the offhand, then gives the backhand. Toe goes high and around, maybe a bit too floaty. Yes, with Eva Bourneau in the neighborhood. Indeed, too floaty. And that one fired for and ends up on the ground. Iceni will have to start from their very own end.
Well, I have to say there's something else that these players are now going to have to battle against, and that is a rather unpleasant aroma that has just wafted over our showcase field. Very strange, but it's definitely going to be in their nostrils as much as it is ours, Steph.
Oh God, I would hate to be breathing. I hate to be breathing this in now. I'd hate even more if I was breathing as heavy and hard as the athletes are. And that one dropped. Leduc picks up, and now Bourneau. Eva Bourneau throws around and wide. A nice play, but it pops out Bit of a ground strip there, unable to collect. That's Chatran again.
Well, many of these UK athletes were watching a battle between many country folk in the previous round on this particular pitch in front of us. That one goes high and floaty again. And not sure there's going to be any call underneath this one, although there was definitely a bit of a swiping arm that hit Ellie Taylor.
Yeah, Lothaire went up and took that one from out of position. Came over the head here, but did get up to it first, but the hand came down onto the shoulder. There was definitely some contact.
Well, we are playing under the WFTF, not USAU rule set, so it's not about necessarily, well, I made a play on the disc before, but it's can you still make that play without clattering your opponent? But in these windy conditions, these things are going to happen. It's interesting to see the defensive strategy, though, Steph. Of course, many opportunities to get a block. We say catch your Ds rather than swipe in. So we get another look at that one. That does look like an attempted catch block for Latour, as opposed to the swipe earlier from Bourneau.
Yeah, it looked like going for the intercept, but going up with the right hand, if you noticed, the left arm, forearm, elbow was on the shoulder going up, and I think that there was preventing any potential to leap. I wouldn't be surprised if this was counted as a foul, but this is, again, for them to decide. Hopefully decided upon soon. That's what the rules are made for, to come to these resolutions as quick as possible, but as informed as possible more. So Rahali goes too high, and that's given straight back to Iceni. Phi Quan jogs to the disc. That's a matchup to watch there, Quan and Bourneau. Ooh, and a nice step in the lane again. Great poach defense from Mooncup. Leduc in or out? I don't know if the back foot was down. What do you think, Hanny?
I think when possession was obtained from the disc, that back foot was firmly on the ground in the end zone. Getting another look at that one. Iceni having really unfortunate moments here of just sort of throwing into traffic. But let's get it chopped up frame by frame. Oh, a little bit of a miscue on the replay there, but we will bring you that one. And it is called good on the field, which is the most important thing.
Here it is again.
We're just teasing you, folks. Yeah, there's the catch. Oh, I think the very moment.
That is because it was not a clean first touch grasp there. I don't know if that was as decisive as yes, that's just a clean goal, but so ever so close.
Either way, it looked cool, and that always helps. But of course, that is the weird thing about live streaming being introduced to the sport, Steph. So many of these games, I think probably most of these players, at least 90% of your matches are not subject to live streams. You don't have replays or videographers or any of that nonsense. So we're going traditional, and they've just worked it out between themselves.
Old school. So Bourneau with the disc in hand. Mooncup with a healthy early lead, a 2-point lead, 3-1. If a Bourneau, you see her backpedaling there, almost tripped over her own feet. So she ties the shoes.
It's just giving a chance to get that little extra bit of attention for the differently coloured cleats.
Yeah, her and Lison both always have the odd non-matching shoes. Quan, nice pickup as she goes to ground. Low throw connects. Aurora Johnson continues into the corner and back to Quan. Pope gives the backhand, and that one sticks into Hannah Body, and Iceni respond with a clean hold.
Yeah, nice rapid pace to do it as well. Just the 6 passes required to advance downfield. And lots of options quite decisively spaced across the pitch. You had Aurora Johnson on the right-hand side, near side to your view as we get another look at that layout from Quan just to save possession. But when Kwan had the disc just off your field view, you had Aurora Johnson delivering, and underneath the Swedish contingent, of course, previously Iceni have had a different Swedish national team player, Maja Lindroth, in London doing a bit of study. But Aurora Johnson, a beach champion several times, I'm sure will possibly be part of the World Beach squad attending from Sweden. But lovely to have. But on the other side, of course, delivered Pope and then into the end zone. So a solid hold for Iceni to steady the nerves, Sun, but trailing by 2 breaks. And Mooncup currently in charge.
Yeah, you see a 2-break-to-none lead, and it only shows up as 1 on the scoreboard. And this is one of those things in Ultimate where that lead will materialize in the second half if they can maintain and not get broken back. So they are they're in a much better position than 3-2 looks.
And of course, by scoring first, Mooncup sort of reversed the fact that they didn't win the toss, because it means if this one trades all the way out, the person who scored first, the team who scores first, will start with the disc on offense if it goes to Universe.
A little trip up there, but Maxon hangs on and goes back to the central handle. Harris all the way around. Maxon fires to the far side. Lison Bourneau collects. Now up line, Rollet. Rollet goes to Bourneau. And now Maxon. High stall count here, but finds a way to get it out. Rollet to Harris. Harris back into the middle. Maxon fakes the backhand, looks forward, gets the leading throw to Schlotter. And inside, Maxon fires La Gala! There with 2 hands on it. She lets the Stegosaurus hat shine, and Mooncup go up 4-2.
Yeah, a proper shot across the bows there, nearly taken out by traffic of a friendly fire nature. No, we love to see that connection, and of course La Gala, a natural fit for this rather star-studded side. But we'll shout out a couple of the leadership for this sort of Mooncup side. They had a couple of folks, as we said, that didn't get to play all the season together, but Maria Belper has really become one of the silent forces to lead this Mooncup side. Perrine de Hasp is really maturing, especially this season. She's always been a great player, has sort of, been playing since her early teen days, and is really just rising forward. The coaches said that she's just become such a mature player and a real leading force. And of course, no one can deny the vibes and energy that Eva Maxon brings. But at the moment, the energy coming out of Mooncup is very positive. They are looking very ready to also just use the elements to their advantage. They've certainly been snaffling up every opportunity when these Iceni discs into the breeze are going slightly too high.
And you saw there on the line for Mooncup, Camille Bernier, the Italian that I had before said comes from Padova, of course from Prato. She wanted me to correct that when I got the chance, so there it is. Hannah Thompson and Iceni going around. Now Phi Quan gets the leading throw to stick. Taylor. Oh, looks to center but puts it away. Now throws the defense. Charging but can't get there. Hannah Thompson does. Thompson fires to the sideline. Anasovic, great throw up the line. Good collection by Hannah Leong, but that throw by Anasovic, an absolute perler.
Yeah, Nos with a beautiful leader into the end zone, taking on the matchup of Leong versus Leduc, where there is a determinate height difference, but the throw was absolutely picturesque. Of course, Nos has been on the Iceni squad for a couple of years now. She's just the tender age of 25. Originally hails from Melbourne. Big shout out to Alan and Roan at the Alti House. Will be watching this one from afar. And Leong sort of moved to London last season, if I recall. Started playing her ultimate back in Bournemouth with Heat. Was usually the sole female matching athlete playing with a lot of the fun teams. A lot of experience there. So you've got Kwan, who's obviously been an Iceni leader for a while, and Lucy Barnes, who's played for many iterations of UK mixed and women's teams. Was one of, I believe, the founding members of Deep Space back in the day, or certainly was on that first squad. But returning to play for Iceni, and brings so much big game experience from a long and storied playing career.
Throw gets the big gainer, eventuates to Lison Bourneau, and Harris gets in power position. Lagala the target, but the throw gets dragged out the far sideline, and Iceni will get a chance to break.
Well, since we've been talking about players from further afield, quick little CV for Julia Harris, of course, started at the University of Virginia. She's been playing for nearly 10 years, but recently qualified for the USAU National Series with her mixed club. So big congrats, but brings a lot of those big boosted players, but that one just a bit too much.
Fired by Phi Kwan. Looking to connect. Great defensive pressure. Belpaire takes away position from Lucy Cinnamon, and now it's Mooncup going the other way. Lison Bourneau gets the connection to Rollet. Fired to Lagala. What a throw. Not in, though. Lagala alone on the line. There's Harris. And they do cash it in. How about that huck? That was bang on.
Well, it turns out you just have to change the pairing the other way round if you want it to work. But that was indeed all about the excellence of defense from Belpaire, plucking the fruit from the sky. Well, I say that. Again, it's a lot of these sort of just smashing the disc down. The wind has died down a little bit, certainly over the course of this championship so far. My heart always goes in my throat a little bit when you see someone swipe for it rather than just deny with the catch block. And I think probably Belpaire did have the position to make the catch block there, but it does pay off. Doesn't get made to look silly as we get a little bit of extra bonus doggo cam, by the way. It's always nice to see all the pooches coming out today because it's much nicer conditions.
There's so much. Oh, look at those fellas. Hey there, twinsies. But so much to look at, Hannah, including some of these scores. I'm not going to get too into them as we go, but I know you at home are probably checking out your scores. We're at some of the most exciting part of this tournament. I will say this. Wow, women. Goodness gracious, they mean business.
Well, I mean, you say their scoreline, if you check out the website, it is 8-0 over Troubles, but Troubles have a very short roster. They had a very difficult game against Jet Set Love to get into the top 8, so I can understand why that one's happening.
Cat Pope leads, gets a strong hand reception. That one from Hannah Body, back to center, and Aurora Johnson. Body looks back to middle. Pope sends the backhand. Aurora Johnson there with two safe hands. Johnson steps away from the mark and goes to Anasovic. Anasovic fires, gets a strong swiping hand from Leong. And now centered again. Toe. And we've got a stoppage. Any hand signals indicating? I'd imagine a pick. It looks like there's a bit of congestion.
Yes, I did spy a couple hand signals, and it was the old ticket to the gun show.
I know that one. Led in to the front. Hannah Body finds and hits Cat Pope for the goal. And they will put themselves right back on the board and stay within one.
settling ourselves out a little bit of trading here now in the first half. Love that grab from Hannah Leong, by the way. Nice solid single-handed snatch. And the offhand dish from Hannah Body, who's got some pretty sort of quick fakes. She doesn't really step in to kind of try and shake the defender around. She just moves the disc between the hands quite quickly. But that is a very solid point for Iceni. A clean hold with just 11 passes to do it. So everything kind of clicking and humming now, but they're going to have to find a way through this Mooncup O-line. They've certainly had their chances so far in this game. At the moment, the break chances, Iceni 0 for 3 and Mooncup 2 for 6. So both D-lines with a little bit of improvement for sure. But Mooncup are really able to put on some serious defensive pressure when they do make errors.
Speaking of finding a way through, Hannah, I know Mooncup stole and won the pool from Yaka, who have not had the best of fate. Working their way through. Iceni had a pre-quarter. What was that one all about?
Well, indeed, it was Iceni's turn to have a UK final, not a final, UK. Well, I mean, they've played each other in the final so many times is why I say it. But yes, it was a 12-10 win over Bristol. And by virtue of some very similar defense throughout the course of the game, as we see a great run-through block, nearly the greatest attempt. But we love to see it. Amelia Kemeth coming back from the knee injury and firing on all cylinders.
Yeah, what a play by Kenneth there. Almost a second chance to greatest by Lison Bourneau. I think she would have been out. I think her toe was on the line, had that throw made its way back in, but great defensive play there. Phoebe Teo picks up and goes to center. Ling Wu goes to the far side, hangs one up, maybe too floaty. Second chance availed and collected, but now Bourneau wonders if the boundary line was hit.
Well, I think it's less wondering. I think it's more of a statement. Let's get a little look at the replay. I mean, is that left knee on the line? It's really difficult to tell from our view.
I mean, I thought the bottom half of the body hit first. That definitely counts. I believe it was the right call was made there, Hannah. That's my personal opinion. What does that matter? But they do break. The Mooncatchers get one of the, or the Moon Cup, pardon me, get one back and level the score at 5.
Oh yes, I mean, I was just saying our angle isn't great from our view all the way here on the other sideline, but either way, Kenneth punches it in with a high release. Just nice aggressive movement, but I think that was maybe some help defense gone wrong, just by virtue of you had two Iceni athletes and plenty of clearance. If anything, Teo having the space cleared by her teammate. So a successful D point for Iceni.
Yeah, big one to get a break back. Scores leveled. And of course, the glory of moving on to the semis stands in front for the team that can prevail here on the Eurodisc Arena.
And of course, in terms of the legacy and pedigree coming through, there aren't too many of the OG Iceni athletes of old still knocking around the field. A couple on the London Masters Ultimate team that already also are featuring at this year's EUCF. But Mooncup in their second full EUCF season. It's wonderful to see them bursting onto the scene. Of course, a lot of them have been residing in Brussels for some time, playing alongside other teams, and they've collected a few Frenchies to bolster their numbers as well.
Well, you know, the Frenchies and the Brustlers speaking the same language, so maybe an even easier integration. Now the Italian Lagala throws high but gets a catch from Schluter to Rollet and back to Harris. Belpère comes across to Maxon. Rollet and right into the middle. Rollet goes to Maxon. Schluter. finds the corner, feet down. Harris makes a play, but a risky throw into the corner, but rewards from that risk.
You said it, Steph. That was a very interesting decision made by Fiona Schluter. I mean, I don't hate it, but it definitely requires that extra little bit of focus from Julia Harris. Just had that little bit of extra stretch on the matchup. Schluter, of course, getting plenty of reps playing with Team Germany. Gold medalists back in Limerick in 2023. So definitely brings a lot extra to this Mooncup side. But yeah, largely a francophone affair. I think Legala and Schluter might be the only two maybe who's did not grow up speaking French, but another timeout being taken as both teams have 2 per game per half, and they're taking a break.
That makes it 6-5 here from the Eurodisc Arena. Mooncup sitting with a 1-point lead.
On October 14th, 2024, the first ever World Beach Ultimate Club Championships will take place in Portugal. Follow the over 600 games as the scores update live online. And with free streaming from the Ulti TV Arena, you can catch your favourite teams on your phone or from the comfort of your couch. Don't miss any of the action from Portimao.
And having a snack, some support from the sideline, wondering what that whole stage is all about. All things happening here in Oostende, North Coast, Belgium, Hanny.
Well, I was actually asking because obviously in Belgium you have 2 types of pronunciation, and I got it from a local friend in Tom's Tawny TD extraordinaire, Glenn Nolf, who actually grew up here, Oostende, as he was saying. But I like the Oost. So see if Iceni can use the Oost in Oostende and boost themselves back forward. Of course, trailing just the 1 break of score in this game now, but still Mooncup getting that first point on the board, and that's an exceptional pull rolling out the back. Wow.
Right at the back, Phi Quan overthrows, and it's going to be a short field now for Mooncup. Not in, Rahali on the line. Goes into the dump space, Eva Bourneau. That's a beautiful sight and a beautiful throw. Lisa Lothaire with the goal, and Mooncup go up another 7-5 with the break there after a wonderful pinning from the pull.
I mean, you really cannot talk too much about how important getting the pull right is. You can see that one difficult for Taylor to bring in, and then just snaffled up downfield by Camille Bernier. Kiki getting it done. Took a couple of extra reset passes, but I like that for Mooncup. They have been riding the vibes repeatedly over the course of this tournament, so nice to see them just going for a bit more disciplined structure. And I'm sure Coach Inet Lancrit will be very happy with that outcome. Another break to the tally. They nudge in front by 2 once more. And if they can take half with an upwind break here and come out on offense in the second half, Iceni might get a little bit iced out here.
It is a distinct possibility that these games can be taken away with some first half momentum, but one more and then to receive would be a little bit ugly if you're Iceni, but they get a bit of decent field position here to start off, picked up by Inosevic.
Well, and certainly you don't want to use too much of your energy at this stage. Save yourself some legs for semis.
Well, you got to get there first. You can't save too much if you're not going to get in. Phi Quan hits the deck. Now Pope. Pope throws high, and it's mishandled above the head. And Mooncup will pick up Hombergen gets things going. Then Rahali to Eva Bourneau, who has it now. Rahali finds Bourneau again, sure-handed she is, and fires the bomb. Uh-oh, second effort availed, and a second slap by Kat Pope. Well done to do it twice.
Well, that's why I've been saying I'm so nervous about Mooncup not getting catch block, Steph. But it's Iceni that come undone with the first one, but make sure on the second effort.
The sideline starting to fire up here. Phi Quan and Iceni trying to get this hold. It'll be a dirty one if they do it, but they don't mind as long as it holds. Taylor goes to center and bit too much traffic. There's another turnover, and we've got an injury on the field.
Yeah, Hombergen coming off and being replaced by De Hasp. It doesn't look like Iceni are going to take any substitutions, though, which is one of the shocking themes of this tournament. How many teams have chosen not to have fresh legs come on when their opponents do?
I'm going to have to talk to Jamie Rabbits about this. If he's coaching this team, I would never allow a point that's gone on for more than 30 seconds to not have a reciprocating substitution. Rahali winds up, sends deep, and a little bit too far beyond.
I'm not sure what the separation was downfield on that one, so maybe there is a little bit of a mandate of playing positional for this Mooncup side.
Defense! Defense!
Iceni. Oh, and Pope does hang on. And now back to Quan. Anasovic winds up, sends the other way, and too far once again for a connection.
Yeah, the timing is not quite as clockwork like as it was in the beginning of this game for Iceni when they looked good in that section of trading to take us from 3-1 all the way to 5-4. It really was a case of having cuts delivered in both sides of the field laterally, really just hitting those marks and finding each other at the right moments. But Iceni's throws looking a little bit frustrated in this particular possession just by virtue of the fact that the cuts aren't coming at the right time. Be nice to see them start a little bit before the stall, as we see Mooncup do just that. A little bit of a bosh in the center pocket, and I think we might get a push-off foul call. But no, they're calling a timeout as well, so we'll get a stoppage of an elongated variety, Steph.
Timeout to catch your breath out on the field, back at home behind your screens, and here in the booth as well from the Eurodisc Arena. Iceni 5, Mooncup 7. More action to come.
Get there. Yes, he will.
The lovely did.
Some more of our canine friends, and they're, of course, the human friends on the sideline, taking in the action. And what action available for them to be taking in. Quarterfinal action here. Hannah, do we have a hot minute here to look at scores?
I think we've got a hot minute. I want to know how Troubles are getting on against Hut, because talk about conservation of legs. The Dutch team are definitely going to have a great semi-final if they can continue this form.
And I have never seen this kind of form in a semi-final this deep, or in a quarterfinal this deep. Groot are all but through. They have a 13-point lead.
Ouch.
13-0 up on Troubles right now. That is incredible. Stay out of their way.
Well, I mean, it's just literally notched onto 14-0, so nearly a bagel in a women's quarterfinal. That is absolutely insane. BFD Shout 7-5 against East Block, so a repeat of the current scoreline in this game. And Jinx Midnight one notch above the Swiss team Fabulous, who have been playing fabulously with the wind. I'm sure that's been favouring their big powerhouse throwers like Hauser for sure.
Wow, so much action. You want to take it all in, but you got to take it one game at a time, really. And here's the turnover. Iceni, big chance to break again before the half. Can they pull it off? Yes, they can. Into the corner. Looks like Aurora Johnson with the goal there. And 6-9 or 6-7. I apologize, not a break, a hold, but on a 6 turnover point, sometimes they feel like they're breaks.
They certainly do, Steph. Iceni hanging on to the momentum. They are trailing the 2 breaks of score, but they've shown some finesse stuff that definitely demonstrates they're capable of coming all the way back and then some in this women's quarter-final matchup. So you see Coach Jamie there. He's ditched the jacket. The heat is rising. So our sideline fans, just enjoy the sunshine here. Certainly, it is Saturday, so you're going to get more spectators. Of course, those 9-to-5ers coming out of hiding to enjoy the scenes here in Oostende. But Iceni with still a little bit of a job to do. It's nice to see that little bit of zone look coming in, really taking advantage of the setup position for that in-play timeout. They were so close to the far sideline, so it's really smart to come out with that long wall of 4 athletes and really say, all right then, Mooncup, you've been throwing a lot of really nice big backhands against the wind. Let's see how your forehands do.
Let's make you do something different. And that one pulls sails out of bounds.
I think maybe a little bit of line tinkering from Rabbits, because we've got a couple of big throwers coming on for this D point against the wind.
The round throw hits Lison Borneau. Borneau fires center. Lagala there. Lagala eyes upfield with a lot of separation. Hits Harris without much distress. Takes half. 8 for Mooncup. 2 up now on Iceni to 6.
Well, when it looks good, Steph, this Mooncup offense looks really, really flipping good. I mean, it kind of didn't really seem too certain as to who that pass was for when Lagala reached those long arms up into the air, but immediately finds Harris with pretty much no concern whatsoever. You can tell that the timing for this O-line is starting to really pay dividends, and Harris all over the stats board. That's the 3rd goal just for the first half, so just under 50% of the score involvement. Not bad numbers.
Yeah, that is serious contribution for Mooncup out of Harris. A lot of contributions coming from all over the place. Full team effort, as you see Iceni trying to get their team up to snuff here and find a way. They are still within striking distance here, but a nice lead built up for Mooncup, and they will, of course, receive to start the second half.
Indeed, and downwind offense at that.
So downwind offense coming up for Mooncup. 8-6 lead. We're going into half. Oh, some of our favorites. Lolo and Vez, Ulti TV's video correspondents out here doing some extra work, getting some project's done.
You call it extra work, I call it extraordinary journalism. We're doing proper stuff these days, proper researched little videos and interviews. As you see Amelia Kenneth there, you can tell the K-tape on that previously injured knee. It is wonderful to have her back, though, a player who I think one of Alti TV's own Felix Chardlow put together a highlight reel of Kenneth's under-24's tape. I think the nickname was Rapidash. What would your Pokemon name be, Steph, from your playing days?
I have no idea how to Pokemon name.
Answers on a postcard. Get us on Instagram. What would Steph Rapazzo's Pokemon be? I wonder.
Let us know.
Only
Something
generations.
to do with like a warthog or a silverback gorilla. Can those be Pokemon?
Answers on a postcard. We'll focusing on this game, I think for Iceni, we might see a little bit more of that zone action. I know they said they didn't want to try and have Mooncup take on too many deep shots. They didn't want to really encourage kind of defensive strategies that would see them throw over the top, because they do have some very big receivers, especially on the O-line. But Gráinne McCarthy there, ready for the pull. Former mixed European medalist. And the second half will begin.
We are underway. And the pickup by Rollet. Up and over into the hands of Maxon. Couple fakes and finds Lagala. Lagala dumps back. Maxon. The around fires. Hits Schluter. And goes far sideline again. Lagala. Around with a backhand. Spicy shot. Just a bit too far. The backup was there though, but still Harris couldn't get there either.
I really do not mind that look on a very high stall count though, Steph. Excellent execution. Just misses the tape by about a yard or so. And Harris ready to hit the deck. Get out your mop and bucket, folks. But an opportunity here for Iceni to punch in a break to start the second half, which would be huge for their chances in this quarterfinal.
Iceni get things cooking. Roland gets another connection. Leong. Pardon me. That was Melvin Tang. And now move to the near sideline. We've got an injury called. Not sure exactly. The shoulder of Ling Wu was grabbed immediately. Perhaps it's a existing injury, because she seemed certain of exactly what happened as she hit the ground and grabbed that shoulder. So I hope she'll be okay, but I believe that she might know exactly what's going on based on the response. McCarthy goes into center. Melvin Tang to Quan, low throw, and a little bit off balance, messed with the mechanics there. Leads just beyond the brick mark, fired deep, and what a play. Harris is doing it, chucking the body around for anything and everything. Lagala opened up, but Harris takes her time as there was no mark on. There was a pick indicated somewhere on the field.
Not all heroes wear capes, Steph.
Goodness gracious. Back in play, Harris goes to Maxon. Sights the center and gets it to Rollet. Maxon. Ooh, inside, but a bit too low. Lison Bourneau gets hands there, but unable to corral it in. Iceni, and there's a hand block on the first throw. And Moon will pick up and go for goal. Lagala gets the left hand on it. And Carmen Lagala materializes the goal, and Mooncup go up 9-6 early in the second half.
The Brussels contingent notch on that extra point and really show the full force of their lead. Really absolutely scintillating layout catch grab from Harris. Highlight reels for days. But I mean, it's definitely a very respectable performance from Iceni right now. They're just not quite hitting the top gear of their ability, I think. Certainly, it's very difficult to get the disc off and away into the end zone versus this Mooncup O-line, though the talent really is just at such a high level. Current success rate very similar for the D points. 50% of them Mooncup have turned Iceni over, 57%. Iceni have turned Mooncup over, but at the moment the overall chances 1 for 7 for Iceni and 3 for 8 for Mooncup. That is the difference here, being able to just convert things smoothly. But Iceni are much more efficient on offense at the moment in terms of the tally it takes, really just winning the deep game, which is a bit of a surprise based on what they said earlier on.
And a call on the field really slows things down there. Lazaris, maybe called an injury. Not sure, but the throw went and everyone stopped. So I suspect this will come back to Kat Pope. And it is in her hand. And we're back into play. Kat Pope leads, and Quan bobbles with pressure from Bourneau. Bourneau quick to pick up. Lefebvre goes back. Remarques. Bourneau into the backfield. L'Enfant leads. Remarques. Centered Ava Bourneau. Not only does she have off-colored shoes, but also earrings today. She's really working the program. Ava Bourneau goes back. Iris Remarques. Bourneau getting every other touch. Sends to the back of the end zone. Overshoots one, but the backup plan is there. Diop takes it to the house.
Well, back up your teammates, especially against the wind, which has started to rise again in the opening points of this second half. Mooncup, again, really riding the vibes, and you can see the support coming off of Iceni, really trying to just steady the ship, but another break. Mooncup now 3 in the lead. And that is just absolute throwing finesse. A swing and a miss on the reception initially, but you've got to be good to be lucky, Steph.
Indeed you do. And they got lucky there, so that must be an indication of one thing and one thing only. Boy, are they good. We've got Coach Eno behind us. That means that Groot, they're all finished up with troubles. And as such, we're going to have a look around. There's open and women's quarters. Moon Catchers and Gentle, the old Belgian affair. Moon up 11-7. Groot, as mentioned, have won 15-1. Here's a spicy one. 8-7 Chevron, just a notch above La Fota back in open. Wall City and Chak on the other stream. Chak with a nice lead, 7-5. Clapham big on Groot, doubling them up in the open division. 12-7, and the last one, East Block and BFD Shout in a tight one. BFD with a 1-point lead. And of course, 10-6 here. Knock away, Eva Bourneau gets the block and the pickup. Goes to Rahali. Wow, interesting around throw, but it gets there and goes straight back to Rahali. Wanted Leduc, but undercooked that one.
Yeah, I really love that defense from Hannah Smith, actually. Of course, ends up getting basically thrown to by Mooncup, but actually hung out in the lane and stopped that initial flow from getting all the way to a scoring pass. Great awareness.
Iceni starting their journey to the other end zone. Melvin Tang goes to center. Kenneth. Not happy with the options. Finally finds something she likes. Leading throw. Barnes tries to go up the sideline to no avail.
Really solid. Well, talk about the defense in this game. That seems to be the real difference maker. Great help coverage from Mooncup, really just marshalling each other around and nullifying Iceni's flow.
Rahali in front of the end zone. Leads Bourneau! What a layout by Eva Bourneau, the French superstar, and she takes an injury. Wow, she hit the ground hard, but what focus to hang on to this one.
The catch and flop.
Boy, is she good and just getting better every time we see her play.
You can see her actually on the edge of the screen, just having a little lie down, getting the wind back in her sails.
Inside, bouncing from sideline to center, now all the way across. Leduc goes into Rahali. Rahali finds a seam. Chartrand is there, and Mooncup extend this. I believe it is now 11-6, Hannah.
It certainly is, Steph. And Lyndon Chiang doing everything possible to try and prevent that scoring pass, but just notices a touch too late. Both teams really grinding out here, but it's the just extra bit of magic that Mooncup are able to find to support each other. Getting another look at that earlier point where they just absolutely boosted the roof off of this game to get another upwind break. So it's been a very quiet half for Iceni so far, very much being denied exactly what they want. Of course, there are so many athletes on this London-based side, but the Brussels women have clearly been putting in the time in the gym, at the track and together, even when they've been apart. Just building over the course of this championship. But this women's division is so hotly contested, Steph. And of course, even the likes of Yaka couldn't make it through to the championship bracket, which I'm sure would have been a surprise to pretty much every pundit going.
They were the number one. Well, they were the number one seed, Hannah. So yes, a surprise to people with a in-depth knowledge and those that might just be external viewers that might know their history, to see a team with the pedigree of Yaka, that have had the season of Yaka, go out that early in the pre-quarter is just a great tell of how strong this division has become.
And some of the true Noisy-le-Sec folks, because of course the Yaka program has taken a couple of international stars into their ranks for many seasons on the trot now. It seems to become, of course, a bit of a trend all at the top of the club level. It's perfectly allowed, perfectly valid. It adds people to your roster and adds a lot of experience and knowledge to your club base as a whole. But a couple of the Yaka stalwarts deciding not to attend this season, to take perhaps a little bit of a focus away from elite European club ultimate. But it's definitely a bitter seed for some of the French women who also represented their nation in the women's division back in Australia, because they also had a difficult campaign. But as I said to some of their players earlier, Steph, you've just got to use that energy, that frustration, as the fuel for your fire that will get you through those workouts in the off-season after we close up this latest EUCF championship.
I suspect they'll be having fun at the Sunday night festivities. And if you're not winning, you're learning, right, Hannah?
Lose but improve, Steph. Lose but improve.
Anazovic goes center. Nice, confident catch by Body. She turns it back to the near sideline for Leung. Leung spots center. Kat Pope opens the arm to the far side. That one to Taylor. And then back to center for Pope. Pope goes to Body. Body under duress, hits into Thompson, and then for goal, the up line to Pope. And Iceni back on the board. 7-11 the score.
Well, I tell you what, there's some serious ice slushy running through the veins of Hannah Thompson. Just absolutely unconcerned with the layout form in front of her. Has played through the University of Chichester as well as for Horsham Hippos amongst her playing career, but has been on ice for a couple seasons now. Formerly played tennis as a youth athlete, so more accustomed to the mentality of an individual sport. Sometimes gets in her own head, but very much focused, and has been the athlete trying to take over some of the workload for the missing Maddie Leung. Of course, everyone prefers to have the best capybara on the field. Our graphics getting a bit confused there, but Kat Pope is indeed having a good game. Good reminder, stats folks, that 2 goals, 1 assist for one of the leaders of this Iceni team, hailing from the University of Exeter.
I remember I was in a pub quiz in Nottingham, and it was the clue was somebody who's leaving, and you had to find a city that matched that, and Exeter was the answer.
Well, of course, great program coming out in the women's division from Exeter. Excel, that have represented the UK all the way up to the national championship level indoors. They were representing back in Denmark some many months ago now. Although I still vouch for indoors being the most watchable version of the game.
We've had this chat. I'm partially with you, but I still prefer the beach, but I just know that it can be turned on its head. Let us be reminded of the final day of Woogamabuk last year.
Well, all the European Beach Ultimate Finals from 2018 with that crazy, crazy stormy weather. Indoors, at least you don't have to worry about the wind.
No, that is the difference where I do see your point.
And Mooncup also gave us some very thrilling games in the women's division there. That is for sure.
Well, it's Iceni now with the disc after the turn. There's a bid by Harris trying to fly through the lane. Well, she did effectively fly through the lane. Didn't get a hand on it, though. Far sideline, Iceni looking for something, but just throw it up, and La Gala will pluck it from the skies.
Well, she's had plenty of experience, of course, growing up in Rimini, playing for Tequila Boom Boom.
Maxon fires the forehand, lands in with friendly fire, and Mooncup put the 12th on the board. That one goes in to Schluter for the goal.
Yep, Schluter collecting. Erin McGreedy, the matchup for the number 10. As you see a look at that slightly loose disc that's scooped up as if to be placed upon a cone for gelato for Carmen Lagala. But McGreedy, hailing from Warwick, started playing way back in the days of school, but coming across and playing in the women's division. Has previously represented with Reading and Lemmings, 2 of the mixed teams from the UK here in Oostende. But that just looked a little bit too easy. And McGreedy saying, where was my support? Where was my vocals to let me know that disc was in the air?
Did you just say gelato? Caught my attention. Yesterday, when we arrived here, I saw a neon sign in the distance, and it was like a cone with a little topping, and I said, oh my god, there's a gelato shop over there. And of course, the top neon was yellow, and in a cone in Belgium, it's not so much gelato that's as
frites.
renowned to be in cones, but it was frites, but I had some anyways.
I mean, local delicacies wherever we have them is what we'll take. And if you check out Stefan's YouTube, you might know a little bit more about that.
Oh yeah, get on it. Steph Potso YouTube. Anasovic goes to Kat Pope. Kat checks both sides, then leads forward. Aurora Johnson. Nice cut. Oh, it's a good cut by Phi Quan. The throw just missed, though. And Eva Bourneau and Mooncup carry on the other way. That one max off the hand, and Iceni will get it back. Quan on the pickup. Pope. Leads forward, and nice layout, but too far in front for Aurora Johnson to get a hand on it. And now picked up again the other way. This time Rahali goes through the dump space, and now Eva Bourneau. Bourneau having a tough time breaking the Quan mark. Finally does, but the cut had come stagnant. Bernier takes the under, and it's Chartrand. Leads Lothar. Back to Bourneau. And Chartrand, we've got to pick stopping things.
Love that big force from Ellie Taylor, knowing exactly what Mooncup want to do. They want to get to the strong side of the pitch, which is our side on our camera view, and boost it when they can.
Back into play. Bourneau goes for Leduc and unable to connect. Leduc pounds the ground before getting back up on the mark, and it's Anasovic and Iceni looking the other way. Pushed forward, Lyon. And now Pope. Pope looking to center now. Unable to find anything available. Goes up line and gets a handy grab by Taylor. Taylor goes to center. Aurora Johnson. Taylor comes back to the disc. Fires for goal. Leduc shuts down the lane and takes it away for Mooncup to have another crack at it.
Yeah, I'm loving that Leduc Nozovic matchup. Two very tall athletes going toe-to-toe, but Toe takes that one down.
Down it goes, and Phi Quan will saunter over to the disc and put things back into play for Iceni. Kat Pope shakes, backhands forward. Anasovic leads, hits for the goal. Taylor's there. The toe drag works, not for the sideline, but just to ensure it was in, and that makes it 8-12. They're still within 4.
Well, great aggressive defense. We're getting another section of rhythm, just trading this one through. But Iceni really being pushed to that far sideline, struggling to break and then get that swing, whether that's flat momentum or gaining around to the soft side of the defenders. But another multi-turn point goes just in the way that it was intended in the end. So plenty of dirty holds across. In fact, of the breaks of the game so far, there have been 5 breaks for Mooncup. 3 of those were clean, so immediately just punching it in. Iceni just the one break to their scoreline at the moment, which was indeed whistle clean in just 4 passes. But these long drawn out points generally going in the way of the offense.
Here's the pull. Mooncup getting things going to Rolly. Back into center. Rolly looks to the dump space, and that one is intercepted after being double bounced. Leading throw hits, and it's a quick break for Iceni. 9 on the board for them, only the second break of the game. They'll take it.
I love that bubble block to catch for Smith. But do you know why that happened? Because the stack for Mooncup was so disconnected, so far away, and Iceni took full advantage of that. They just denied the underneath. They said, you're already starting pretty much in the deep channel, so you just had to turn around and look for the reset, trying to take it early, but Maxent, with a bit of miscommunication, and Hannah Smith was ready to pounce and finds. And they're also trying to G up the energy. Smith saying, Iceni are not shut out of this one. You can't close the freezer door.
Not quite yet.
But will they be able to open up the icebox and have something to say cheers to at the end of this quarterfinal? Because Mooncup just have to punch 3 more in the scorecard and it's all said and done, because we've still got 20 minutes of regulation play left on the clock.
Plenty of time to mount a comeback, but plenty of work on their hands. The way Mooncup have been playing, we'd have great reason to believe that they will be able to amount these next 3 points, but that's why we play them out, Hannah. We've seen all sorts of things happen at tail end of games, and big games with great momentum, with great form. We've seen crumbles, we've seen triumphs in these moments. Rollet winds up. It is Bourneau sought after, and Bourneau reads it perfectly. Then leads, Harris is there, and now only 2 more required.
Interestingly, sometimes it just feels like Mooncup would rather punch in their offense against the wind than downwind. I think we might see perhaps the next time they're shooting downwind with the disc a little bit more of a concern for the positional element of this match. They don't want to necessarily allow Iceni to get a whiff of a comeback, but a fantastic aerial display. Bourneau picks the spot super early, knows exactly where it's going to land, and makes Paley Melvin Teng look a little bit amateurish reading that one, which is no mean feat. Melvin Teng has been at the top of the women's division in the UK for quite some time. Of course, started in the club scene for Bristol women, but Harris backing that one up, almost looked like she wasn't open, and then just in that last little moment, the identification from Bourneau, and punched it in for another big stat leader. Of course, we don't have full stats from this tournament, sadly, due to the technical issues yesterday, Steph, but at the moment, I would say probably that Harris has got to be up there for one of the leaders of the division.
What was preventing the tech yesterday, Hannah?
I have no idea, Steph.
Oh, it might have been the biblical weather. Oh, yes, it was. A lovely day today, though. And we are continuing on. I see who Ava Bourneau was looking sneaky there, and I think a miscommunication there. The cut from Taylor came under when the throw was hoping it would continue deep. Bourneau. And Mooncup trying to get a counter-attack cooking here. Raymakers. Ooh, and a poorly executed throw. Not in good mechanical position to release that one. Anasovic. Leads, and again, another very similar miscommunication. Bangs one deep, and well in front. Phi Quan does a good job to knock that one out of the way.
But there comes the positional play at long last.
Low grab, picked up. Taylor fires, and too hard for Thompson to collect. Now a short field. Remakers goes inside, and the shot for goal is taken away. Both teams maybe a little bit of lackadaisical nature in their options in this point. Nice lateral cut there to change the field. And then Thompson gets hands before Quan. Thompson throws high to Anasovic. Anasovic leads, slide, great catch there. Christy Toe keeps it alive. Up on her feet, and the continuation to Taylor. Taylor under, throws that one, and Mooncup will go again.
Yeah, Thompson getting dealt some real difficult cards here. It's got the MVP Ice Queen award from the last match that Iceni played this morning.
That one's gonna roll and roll into the end zone. Iceni will pick up, and they'll go again with the full field in front of them.
So we officially have our highest turnover tally across the game. We had a maximum of 6 turnovers in a single point up until now, but we've reached a tally of 8. So just seeing in the second half how the grinding and grudge match continues as these two battle.
We did say a little bit lackadaisical this point not long ago, didn't we? That's what it's amounted to, as this throw goes forward, but Thompson again, and adding to the turnover tally. Borneau fires, looking for Diop, and Diop makes a play. Oh, and another one to miss. Things just are not connecting. Will this? Taylor under, meters away, and taking the dump to go to Toe. Spin around, Quan. Quan leads, it's over. This point, I mean. Finally to Hannah Thompson, and Iceni get the 10th on the board after a marathon of turnovers.
Well, we talk about players putting teams on their back, Steph, but that was Thompson absolutely shoveling that point, and all that annoyance, all that frustration, the amount of discs that were thrown, sort of just awry, perhaps a couple behind her as an individual, just taking all that frustration, all that energy, ripping an absolute boss backhand for almost the full stretch of the field, and then waiting patiently for the moment to rise in the end zone. Another look at that great grab from Howard Diop, unfortunately followed by a rather poor throw. And Toe, just ignoring the heck out of Ellie Taylor, saying you have a little bit of a break and rest. And the vision from Phi Quan to finish that one, taking Iceni to double digits, but they're going to have to put in 5 before Mooncup can punch in 2. And at the moment, especially with the way that Mooncup are winning the sky battles, and it is still a windy day, I have to say I would put the money against my country folk at this particular juncture.
Sounds like safe money.
But then again, we've seen crazy things happen on Ultimate Fields before, Steph.
Oh boy, have we ever.
And this women's division has given us so many thrills and spills.
We'll catch you up on some of the thrills and spills from the other field perhaps after this point, but a few of these quarters have now come to end now. As Belpère goes to Rollet. Popped backwards and then led forward from Schluter to Harris. Schluter to Maxon, and Rollet Rollet winds up looking for Harris, but overshoots. But the backup plan is there, and her name's Lison Bourneau. Bourneau gets a cut out of Harris, and great reaction to switch the grip, go to the backhand, and find Harris in the corner.
That was such a flirty break. I love that throw. Such an attractive one. As you say, almost immediately hustles from one grip to the other, throws that break when very few would, and that will put Mooncup with 5 match points to burn. Iceni are going to have to put on quite the defensive stand, but it starts, of course, with chucking in the first hold into the wind. So they're going to have to focus really their attention on execution of these throws, even under higher stall counts and pressure. They need to maintain that low pivot point, the center of gravity, because anything that goes up in the air at the moment, it's moon all over it.
Iceni will need to be perfect and do more than they've been able to. They will have to double their break count from the entire game.
And then some.
Well, yes. Well, no, 1 hold and 4 breaks. Simple task. Not that simple.
Oh, you mean put on double what they've had? But
Yes.
I thought you meant double up as in just make it from 2 to 4.
Yeah, no, yes.
They will have to get
twice as many as they have already fought for.
Indeed,
to be able to materialize a win here.
But it could happen. They certainly have the quality, but do they have the determination? Leduc opening up what could be the last point of this game, Steph.
It is game point for Mooncup. I believe it more firmly once they have possession, but it is indeed game point.
Yeah, well, this isn't where you put a power line out. You just put your rudimentary defense and then let your stars arise next point, right?
That's exactly it. Let them rest and then make sure of it when they receive. Good toe in there by Body. Leading throw. Hits to Lyon on the line. Back to center, Body collects. Kwan, open, Pope scores. 11-14, it's still continuing, and now Mooncup with a chance to win it and guaranteed possession.
Well, that will be a little bit of inspiration for Iceni, though. A couple of clutch grabs, but generally speaking, that was a very smooth and controlled performance. I actually really loved the big wind-up fake that we saw on the near side in power position for Thompson, really just throwing the mark away. Leduc trying to go toe-to-toe with Hannah Body, of course, has got so many caps for the GB Women's Programme, coming originally from up north in the UK, now residing firmly in London for several seasons. Kwan as well, having a great game. Almost exploded the compression tights though. I don't know if that's intentional. Sometimes you see some of the professional footballers having cut holes in the back of their socks for their gargantuan calf muscles. Yeah, but it looks a little bit like one bid too far might see Kwan's legs explode out of those compression trousers.
I think Kwan just flexed the calf and ripped the lycra there. The power in those legs. This one, 14-11. It's not over yet. There are a few that are over, Hannah. We mentioned Groot earlier. Now, we've also seen Jinx dispose of Fabulous 15-5. And the other women's bracket is East Block and Shout, and that is a tight one, 12-10. Shout out in front, so lots of action happening around the park. Open still happening too, but we'll let you tune into the open one if you want that info at this juncture.
Indeed, so this a chance to play against the German powerhouse in the finals. No, sorry, finals, semi-finals.
Here comes Maxon. Goes to the far sideline, Schluter. Leads forward to Harris. Harris, high, nice take by Bourneau. Rollet to Lagala. Is this the ticket to the semis? Lagala. Eyes locked up field, inside throw. Harris leads for goal. Mooncup going to the semifinals here at EUCF 2024. 15-11. They've disposed of Iceni.
And you can really see what it means to them, Steph. Everyone flooding onto the field and immediately celebrating. It wasn't the prettiest score, a teddy bear roll with the clap catch, but commiserations to Iceni. They started this game off the back foot, of course, conceding that break. A little bit of trading, but Mooncup took control, took the lead, and never looked over their shoulders. I think probably my player is Julia Harris of the match. She's really been so dominant for Mooncup, just delivering the moments that they needed, but it really was a fully flushed performance across the board. Coming together at the end of the season and doing some topsy-turvy action for the almighty algorithm. Of course, these two teams initially seeded 7th and 8th based on their performances throughout the rest of the season, but Iceni will have to fight for 5th as Mooncup start to rise.
4th at the absolute lowest for Mooncup, so guaranteed improvement on what they have ever done, and you can see the excitement there as the match stats pop onto the screen. How about those break chances, Hannah? 20 for Mooncup, generated on 25% conversion. A great showing, 2 for 8, also 25% conversion rate, the exact same conversion rate, but when you're generating more than double the break chances, well, that is the difference in the game with the 4-point lead.
It really is just concentration of those errors in a couple of the points for Mooncup overall. But yeah, very handy performance, and I'm excited to see what they can do against Jinx Midnight, who of course are a very tough team to beat, especially in the wind.
Yeah, very tough. That'll be some exciting action, more action to come. We're sure you're following the scores. You've got your finger on the pulse. We're happy to be bringing you all the action that you're locked in for here from EUCF 2024 from Oostende. Thanks for being with us for this one. For Hannah Pendlebury, I've been Stefan Rapazzo. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll catch you next time.
For me, we're so bittersweet, but I still want you, I do. Baby, can't you see what you do to me? I just can't resist you. You got me drunk in love, I can't sleep. I need to sober up from this dream. I can't deny, I can't deny you. I can't deny. Tomorrow, could you be the one to kill my sorrows? Maybe one night you can play the hero, even if I know it's only for show. I can't deny, I can't deny you.